A very good morning and welcome to the News Review segment of the Power Breakfast Show. My name is Charles Ogambo, and this morning in my panel I have on my immediate left Mheshimiwa Jonathan Mweke, Deputy Governor Nairobi. As always, a pleasure to have you in my panel as we look at what is making news, and of course Mheshimiwa Mudomi Njuki, Member of Parliament for Chuka, Igamba Ngombe, and now aspiring to be Governor for Tharaka Nithi County. Mheshimiwa, good morning and welcome. You look worn out. Is it too tight?
How can you say all that?
Or is it
energized as well?
The day before the day after the weekend?
Well, it's a Monday, so there's Monday blues.
I like Monday blues.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we look at what's really making detailed headlines this morning on the papers today, the Daily Nation front page: Zuma, man who brought down Mandela's party. Detailed feature story on President Jacob Zuma and who is likely to take over from him, aptly covered on page 10 and 11 of the Daily Nation. Of course, a story that is also splashed is that TSC promotes 10,000 teachers as new salary scale set for July. Beneficiaries are said to be part of the 27,000 teachers who were interviewed in February this year countrywide. And more goodies on the way, as the Commission says it's finalizing details of the collective bargaining agreement which they had with the union earlier on. Also on the front page is a countdown to Kenya's new railway service, and of course Wiper, through party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, says we are not going for the top job. Over the weekend there was word that the Wiper party has presented details of its leader Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka to IEBC as a contestant for the presidential position, and now they're coming out to say indeed that is not the case. The story about teachers getting promotions and higher pay covered in details on page 2 of the Daily Nation. Page 4 has a story that we'll be looking at in details. Raila now asks voters to reject independent candidates as John Mrutu, Governor Taita Taveta, announces that he will defend his seat as an independent candidate and not as a member of ODM. The launch of Kenya's new railway line captured on page 6 of the Daily Nation, and of course page 8 has a story about Mwangi wa Iria, Murang'a governor, appealing to hold a repeat party primary in Murang'a County. More stories can also be found on the back page, where the issue of maize has refused to go away. State House defends maize flour subsidies as there are cries from parts of the country that the commodity is not anywhere in the shelves. The East African, quite an interesting headline. Is Kenya set for the most expensive election? That's a question they open with. And they say campaign financing has gone to a massive scale. Spending on propaganda and logistics increases the cost of running for president to more than 5 billion Kenya shillings. More about this can be found on page 8 of the Business Daily. Just a quick look at the Standard front page story: Uhuru Raila campaigns ready to roll. The vote hunt is expected to kick off officially during the election year. The campaigning official period from next Sunday, as both parties are said to have put in place financial, logistical, organizational and network basis to ensure that they clinch their position. Also on the front page is higher pay for 10,000 promoted teachers, as some of them also climb the ladder. And more stories inside the Standard include new rules set to drive matatus with fancy looks off the road. That is on page 4, where it says PSVs are required to comply with body structure specifications to improve the safety of passengers in case of an accident. Also captured and will be forming the basis of our discussion this morning is details about the position taken by NASA and Jubilee as far as independent candidates are concerned. Gideon Moi, Senator for Baringo, says he will stick to the 2022 ambitions without any change. And of course another headache for the electoral body as time is moving fast towards 2017 general elections. Masuala yaliyopewa kipaumbele katika gazeti la Taifa leo asubuhi ya leo ni kwamba Waiguru yumo hatarini. Kamati ya bunge imependekeza kwamba ashtakiwe na kuzuiwa kushikilia wadhifa wote wa umma. Inasemekana kwamba hatma ya alikuwa waziri wa ugatuzi Anne Waiguru imo mikononi mwa wabunge ambao Jumatano watapiga kura kuhusu ripoti ya uchunguzi wa kashfa ya pesa za idara ya huduma kwa vijana wa taifa NYS inayopendekeza kwamba ashtakiwe. Gentlemen, money. Of course, the story of interest is aptly covered on page 1 of the East African. Is Kenya set for the most expensive election, considering that a lot of this money apparently will be going towards propaganda and logistics? Does propaganda have a place in this election, and how so?
First of all, what did you do with MP Yusuf Hassan? We are missing him in studio today.
Sorry, Mheshimiwa Yusuf Hassan just sent in an apology. He's a bit under the weather.
Okay.
We wish him all the best. He was supposed to have been sitting with us here, actually.
Yeah, if he's watching.
I guess you were missing him.
No, I just want to wish him well.
Thank you.
If he's watching, Mheshimiwa Hassan, just get well soon.
Thank you.
Hope to see you next week.
Thank you.
I don't understand why propaganda. You know, my stand has always been, you go out with your policies, you reach the people, you tell them what you can do for them and what it is you will actually do to make their lives better, and then they vote you in. You really don't have to talk about the other person and put them down. But about it being the most expensive elections, I think so, just because it's also, this election is also the election where we're going to have the most number of candidates. So everybody will be trying to reach their supporters. Logistics will be key. There is now different ways as technology is emerging on how to reach voters. People are on social media, others are on the internet, others will do door-to-door campaigns, others will buy advertisements in the newspapers and on TV. So there's going to be quite some spending going on in these elections.
Mheshimiwa Mudomi Njuki, apparently the amount of money that a gubernatorial candidate like you will be spending on average is 600 million shillings, and they say a lot of it will be on propaganda and logistics. How so?
I think this is just a matter of perception, really. You cannot compare what a candidate in a small county which has got 3 constituencies will spend with the one who was 9 constituencies,
or with an urban one like
with
Nairobi.
An urban one where you don't need to go anywhere to ask for votes. You just go on social media,
with 17 constituencies,
social media, and then you appeal to voters to vote for you. And at one time, point in time in Kiambu, they voted a senator they didn't know at all. They just used to send them SMSs, and they were okay with him because of that reason. However, I do agree that the stakes are very high this time, definitely. One, because after we passed the law on party hopping, you see a lot of people have been cut off from the primaries, and therefore they are struggling in the independent, and also we have others who went to other parties. And I do not know why all of a sudden the interest in the seats of elective posts has attracted very many candidates. But I guess it's because of the change in the constitution. Of course, the MCA position, which used to be called a councillor before, now has a new perception all the same. Because
the lives have changed all of a sudden.
Yes, because of you can see how much they earn and how their lives are like. So it's definitely a devolution. The second time we are having an election under devolution, and in the first place, people did not understand really how devolution works. Then all of a sudden, the senators realized that there's nothing much in Senate. I need to be in the gubernatorial seat. So the stakes have become higher and higher, and therefore people are spending money unnecessarily. Where you were supposed to just ask for your votes and you move, people are spending money to get those votes. Literally, some are literally buying the votes.
And I would love to know from you gentlemen, the average salary for a governor is about 1 million shillings, if I'm not far from it.
Correct.
In a year you get 12 million shillings. In 5 years time you get at most 60,000.
60 million.
Give or take 60 million, give or take taxes here and there, then give him a few allowances here and there and take it to 100 million. Why would somebody spend 6 times more? Jonathan, why would your boss, your colleague Evans Kidero, spend 600 million? I'm not saying he will, but they're saying that is the average expenditure for a governor.
Yeah, first of all, 600 million is kind of exaggerated, because we all know that the campaign financing rules state that the highest a governor should spend is 450 million shillings. I think it's 459 million shillings, and that is for Nairobi. For other counties like Lamu, I think the cap was at 100 or something million shillings. So the 600 is a little bit exaggerated. But also, you know, Charles, these jobs of ours...
Actually, they're saying a governor in a rural county.
Yeah, that is a little exaggerated, because we have campaign financing rules that were published by the IEBC that puts a cap of what everybody can spend in all the elective positions. So this is a little bit just exaggerated. If somebody spends this, then they've broken the law.
Still 100 million versus 450 million.
Yeah, I think what is key to know in some of these positions, if you're in it for the right thing, there's some people who spend money, yeah, to be in their position. It's not about earning a salary, it's about, listen, the kind of passion I have for service delivery, I spend money to be in this job. You've seen even some MPs and senators don't even earn their salary. They give it all to Mwananchi. And we've seen somebody like Senator Modama, who comes out and says, listen, I'm here to serve my people, and my entire salary, I've never even fueled my car with my salary. It all goes to churches, it goes to build schools, and so on and so forth. So there's some people who are just so dedicated that they spend money to be in their jobs to serve Wananchi.
Mheshimiwa Mudomi Njuki, would you convince a common Mwananchi that somebody is willing to sacrifice their salary, somebody is willing to buy a position for nothing, just to serve?
Philanthropic, being philanthropic.
Does it exist? The word.
First, I would like to remind my good friend, the DG for Nairobi, that the campaign financing law was challenged. Therefore, I did not see any implementation. Even the returns we were making, definitely, they were nipped up at one point in time. The count numbers, the ABC and the parties were asking for later, they abandoned them. And therefore, it's free for grabs. It's
spend as much as you want.
Man for himself, God for us all. And therefore, people are spending money. By the way, DG, congrats, you and Kidero. I have seen a live billboard. You know, we used to use billboards that don't speak. You know, they're just there like statues. These guys, they have a live billboard on the junction of Uhuru Highway and Al Salasi Avenue. It's talking video. You know, that can be cheap, and definitely, I'm sure they have more in places we have not visited. So he should be one of the people who should be telling us exactly how much they're going to spend on, because they seem to have gone on a very high gear on really dealing with Sonko. But I wish you all the best.
And so the question is,
definitely, the Mwananchi, at any one time, don't think that you will tell Mwananchi how you'll get the seat for free and he will listen to you. Of course, they expect you to spend money, but they do not expect you to be elected because of the money, as per se. Money, yes, you can spend, but if you have no policy, your money is nothing. That is why they have those notions. Sometimes they normally coin, like in rural areas where you hear this is a hotel, and this is where we come to pull hapa when we vote here. So it does not mean that the amount of money you spend, and depending how you spend it, will commensurate or rather translate to votes. Some people spend a lot of money.
The question is, why would somebody spend so much money to get... of course, he has told us that there are people who just have a calling to serve. Would Mwananchi believe that you spend 600 million to get a job where you earn 100 million just to serve them?
It's not about what Mwananchi believes. It's in where do you go for elected position? Because the people go for elected positions to protect probably what they have, right? Some they want to have self-actualization, whereby you feel I've achieved, the only thing I've not achieved is I need to be in a position of power and be able to serve the people and really be able to make a statement. So depending on different reasons why people are in elective politics, you will find people spending various amount of money for that reason.
So it's not necessarily to serve.
Yes.
Well,
serving is one.
Serving is one, yeah. Take, for example, myself, Charles, because I'm here, let's give a live example. I've not been involved in any corruption scandals. I've not stolen anybody's money. Nobody has ever even pointed a finger and says, Mwecho, you have done A, B, C, D.
But your name has been mentioned.
Where?
And you had to clarify.
Where?
They pay what is it called?
Yeah,
EGG
people associate me with the EGG pay because it was my idea. I'm an IT person.
And then you sold it to the county government?
No. I've never had an IT company. Yeah, I have a company that does archiving. That's filing. I've never had an IT company. So there's people who are mentioning that they associate me with the EGG pay. It was my brainchild. I came in. Even before I came in, I said, listen, we're going to put an electronic management system that's going to reduce corruption, and that's going to put you in touch with the county government as a mwananchi, and that's going to increase revenue. And we've put it in, and it's done exactly that. Our revenue has gone up by 60%. Corruption has gone down dramatically, and now people are able to get their business permits in 5 hours and 5 minutes instead of 4 or 5 months. Am I proud of it? Absolutely. Am I proud to be associated with EGG pay? Absolutely. It's changed the lives of Nigerians.
So how much were you paid for it? Yeah? For your brainchild?
I'm paid a salary to do my work. I was elected to serve Kenyans. And when you're elected on a manifesto. So you can't here come and vilify me for doing what the Mwananchi asked me to do. Yeah? So that's where people come in with very mixed up ways of thinking. Just because I came up with the idea, we went and tendered it. 62 people bid for it, including 42 banks. We chose the best person, who was a young person, 27 years old, Danson Mushemi. And we've made EGG Pay the second largest mobile wallet after Safaricom in the East and Central Africa region. Am I proud of it? Absolutely. Actually, it's one of my legacies. But I was saying, before you mentioned that.
Yeah, you're just saying that you've never been involved.
Yeah, I've never been involved in any corruption and anything, and it's open. Anybody can go and check and see. Yeah, but how many children have I educated? How many hospital bills have I paid for people who are sick and can't afford? Yeah, how many people have been thrown out of their houses and come and ask for a few thousand shillings because they're out in the cold, and I help them, and all that comes from my salary. So I'm a live example of a leader who can take part of their wages and help the poor. Yeah. This thing about also campaign financing is, campaigns is a whole large marketing event. You have to market yourself so that people can know who you are, and then you get the votes. So you need to brand yourself. You need to go and tell people what you've done, hence the billboards. We are educating people, saying, hey, you guys, you gave us a chance, and this is what we did with the chance that you gave us. You have to go and reach the Mwananchi wherever they are and tell them why is it that they should vote for you.
So sorry, just on the issue of the billboard, because you raised it, in making sure you communicate back to Wananchi.
Yes.
You're also able to resell yourself. You're also able to campaign.
Well, that's what a campaign is about. A campaign is about getting to people to tell them why you are the best person to be their leader. Yeah. Now, a lot of this money, what people kind of misunderstand about it, does not necessarily have to come from the candidates' pockets. Now, let me talk about us, the governor and myself, because we know ourselves best. We had a fundraiser where well-wishers came and donated millions and millions of shillings to our campaign. It doesn't mean that the money has to come from us. You have business people, you have friends, you have family, you have Mwananchi who believe in your leadership so much that they come and tell you, listen, I have a car I'm not using, take this car for the next 3 months, use it for your campaigns. It happens. It happened to us. Campaign cars have been donated to us. Which people come and say, listen, we'll pay 1 billboard for you.
Which leads to the question, why would a businessman give 10 million in your fundraising when you are gunning for the position of a governor?
I'm glad you brought that out.
Give me a chance to answer so I can clarify.
I want to tell you that is usually the biggest first start in forming a government. No one will give you anything for free in this country.
Not true.
It depends on what is the stake and what they're seeing ahead. Because when you hear about scandals of people who have tried to manipulate tenders, it is an effort to pay those businessmen who gave you money to campaign. Let's not beat around the bush. Don't be told that they are very philanthropic, generous businessmen out there who want to campaign your to finance your campaigns because they really want you to win, because you're a very nice leader,
because you make the business environment good for them,
good, and then you will bring a lot of benefits to the county.
Jonathan doesn't seem to agree.
Tell me about a campaign like the one that was done by Obama, where the local mwananchi, where every Dick, Tom and Harry contributed through
the $1
thing. That makes a lot of sense. But then you have a few businessmen who just come around in a hotel and give you money. It's not for free. You just have to pay it. And how will you pay it? You know how you'll pay for it.
How do you distinguish between influence by campaign financing and honesty from these businesses?
You know, Charles, and I think it's a habit we really need to get out of as a country. Yeah, we always look at things from the extremely negative point of view. It's always about you have to do this so you can get that. You don't have the best interests in heart. I'll give you just 3 examples. Okay, somewhere in Mathare 4A, we've put street lights in that place. A Mama Mboga used to earn 200 shillings a day profit because she has to go home at 6 o'clock. It's dark. Now all of a sudden, because of our street lights that the county government has put in, she can sell hamburgers until midnight and earn an extra 100 shillings. Okay, she does that every day for 365 days. What is wrong with that Mama Boga coming to say, your government increased my life, here is 300 shillings to help you stay in office so that you can help somebody else's life?
Quite reasonable.
Let's look at another thing. My governor friend here, yeah, probably has some dependents in terms of maybe his domestic workers, right? He used to have to pay for them bus fare and 1,000 shillings every time they get sick to go to Kenyatta. Now the Kidero Mweke government have brought a clinic next to his house that has drugs that is free. It has saved him 100,000 shillings a year from paying for those domestic workers, whatever. What's wrong with him coming to say, listen, you've really helped me save money by bringing services closer to me. Yeah, here is 20,000 shillings for your campaign. My last example. That's my last example.
So 300, very reasonable.
Yeah. My last example. Quite reasonable. My last example. Let's look at the matatus. Okay, you're a matatu owner. You used to take your matatu to the garage 3 times a week because your route is full of potholes. Okay, you have to take 2 days off to come and get your seasonal parking, because the lines are very long at the end of the month where you are losing business. Matatus here make 18 to 20,000 shillings a day if they lose business. All right. So the Kidero Mweke government has fixed the road. Now you only fix your matatu once a week instead of 3 times a week. You've saved money. And then Mweke here and Kidero have brought you EGG pay, that now you don't have to come and line up. You pay your fees online and saves you 40,000 shillings every month because you've not wasted time. What's wrong with that matatu owner coming to say, I need you guys in government because you're making my business better. I will print for you 2,000 shillings to market yourselves. What's wrong with that? Is there any tender?
I'm still waiting for Mheshimiwa Mweke to tell me what would make a businessman in industrial area donate 10 million shillings in a fund drive for your campaign.
Well, that never happened to us, so I don't know.
1 million?
Never happened to us. I don't know.
Well, he's done very well in I don't know, we've never gotten platform to market himself and what they have done in Nairobi. You've done very well, and you've used the platform well. But I want to tell you this: if Mama Mboga is happy with your services to Mathare, she'll tell another 100 of them and lobby them to vote for you. It is very unlikely Mama Mboga will come to you Arambe and give 300 shillings. In fact, they'll come there. They expect you to pay bus fare for them to come and contribute. That 300. Well, you'll give them 1,000 bob.
Yeah, but that's
just say you'll bring them. You know, let's not hoodwink our supporters and even the people we serve.
But governor, we're talking the same language.
We talk about the same language.
The truth of the matter is
about 600 million. That does not come from Boga, it does not come from the girl who is doing matatus. That money comes from businessmen who want to have tenders in your government.
Money saved is money gained. What my friend the MP has just said, Mama Mboga will go and reach 100 people to talk about our services.
They'll be happy.
That's fine. how much would it cost me as a candidate to reach 100 people? It would probably cost me 2,000-3,000 shillings. Hold on. It will cost me 2,000-3,000 shillings. So that Mama Boga has just reduced my campaign budget by 2,000-3,000 shillings.
She has contributed 3,000.
She has contributed
the bottom line is, from the figures we are seeing, there is something in it for everybody who is willing to spend for an elective position. The skewed part now is the East African says international propagandists, budging campaign kitties and investment in modern technology are the key factors driving campaigns for Kenya's main political groupings, NASA and Jubilee, in the run-up to 8th August. I'm interested in propagandists. Why do we need propagandists?
Well,
of course somebody will say that is the way of politics, but
I would call it selling his speech. You know, if you don't have a manifesto, if you don't have a policy, you need to sell something different. And that is what, well, the competition has been doing. When we talk about competition for Jubilee. Because if you do not have something to show, this is what I need to do, this is what I've been doing for me to be elected, then you need to make sure that you taint the name of your competition. And how do you do that? Anything that is not genuine, sometimes for it to be packaged has to be very expensive to package it, and therefore the propagandists usually come in, and of course they don't do free job, you have to pay for them, and we'll do propaganda for you for free. So the people who are using propaganda, definitely it costs them a lot of money. Well, that's internationally and nationally. But in the village, maybe sometimes it's not very expensive.
So you say propaganda is used when there is nothing,
there is no policy, there is no
propaganda.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with Bonanjuki here. I always like to quote an old American professor who said the truth is like a lion. You never have to defend it, it will defend itself. Propagandists are the ones who panic, yeah, when they know that they have nothing to offer, and when they know the other person is ahead of them, and so they release negative or untrue information about them. I've seen some propaganda in the nation today that my party leader will be running on a Wiper ticket and has quit NASA. And
we'll be talking about that in
that's propaganda, yeah. But he doesn't even have to respond to it, because we all know the truth. He's the NASA running mate for Raila Odinga. We did a public launch, and that's what will happen in 2 weeks or in a week and a half when they present their papers to IABC. So it's just the work of a few bad elements who have nothing to show for themselves, so they focus on their opponents negatively.
Is this in any way, from you politicians, taking for granted the intelligence of the voter?
Well, you know, the intelligence of the voter is in various stages. The people who are out there who are never aware of what is going on in the better part of this country. Their source of information most of the times is what the politicians will say in their political rallies, through their agents and all that. And that is why it is usually a very necessary move for you to counter propaganda. If it goes uncountered, you cannot ignore it. You ignore it at your own risk, because there are people who believe that propaganda. You know that's not the truth, and you're there saying yes, that can't work. But you see, the people who believe it.
You're accusing NASA
that is why it becomes
very
definitely.
What are some of the propaganda?
They have been selling negativity about the soaring debt. You know, yesterday I went to church and a very young man preached, who happened to be from the NASA region, and then he kept on playing on the minds of the people and saying, yes, the price of unga came down to 90 shillings, but it's not free, because the unborn child today will pay for that. You know, showing that the price of unga did not just reduce to 90, but we had to borrow money to make it 90, and that day to be paid by our unborn child. What does that do to a mother who is expectant and feeling, how can my child be having a debt the moment he or she arrives in this world?
Question. Now I'll come to a question.
Yes.
Has Kenya's international debt gone up?
Yes,
it has.
It has gone up.
So is it true or false? If somebody says the Jubilee government has...
Look at it this way.
No, it has led in an administration where deaths have gone up.
Let's look at it this way and ask you that another day. If you have an investment that you need money to make it a reality, if you borrow money and that investment later gives you money to pay back the loan, does that make it a burden? Of course it makes a solution. When we have money to build standard gauge railway that is going to reduce the cost of transport in this country, it is going to reduce the wastage that we have, the maintenance of the roads, and we have money, the government will pay that money back. It does not mean that the unborn children have to come and work harder for them to pay for that money. It's the work that money will have done that will pay back that money. That's the way we should be looking at it.
Has the Jubilee government had any propaganda against NASA?
Yeah, sure.
Example?
Example is that NASA is just looking for jobs and they're not looking for anything else for the people. All they want is jobs for the 5 principles. And that's the propaganda that they've been pushing for a long time, that we have nothing to offer for the people. Now it's propaganda because when we launched the campaign for NASA, we saw 7 pillars of what the NASA government is going to do for the Kenyans. And it's out there. So for somebody to stand on the microphone and say, NASA is going to do nothing for Kenyans, while it's out for everybody who can see or who can hear to read and to listen about the 7 things we're going to do for Kenyans once we take government as NASA. It's just propaganda that we have nothing.
So why didn't we see Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka say, I'll be flag bearer, I'll be deputy flag bearer, and the rest will be part of the team? Why did you have to allocate each of the members of the summit a position? Isn't that job seeking?
No, it's not job seeking. What you're doing is you're showing people that we're going to share power amongst all these 5 principles. Yeah, you're telling people what to expect when the government takes over and what role everybody is going to play.
So Jubilee are right when they say these guys have come together to share power among the 5 people. Those are your words.
Yes, to share power
among the 5 people.
Yes, hold on. To share power and government among these 5 people. That doesn't mean that these guys are going there, we are creating jobs for them.
So what is the fault when the Jubilee people say these guys have come together to share power among them?
No, that's not what they're saying. They're saying these people are looking for jobs for themselves.
These are semantic power.
Sounds like the same thing. We will be coming back after a short break.
Why can't I put it in context?
You will put it in context. My director is putting on me. He wants us to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back after this.